accepts the following representation fund reports: IPSF 67th World Congress, ETSA Summer Meeting, 11th IPSF European Regional Assembly, EMSA Autumn Assembly, Topra Careers Live 2022, Pharma 2022 Conference. And I open the floor for discussion, and I would like to also mention that, suggest that we take the points in order with questions so that we have an orderly discussion. So first, questions on the IPSF 67th World Congress report. And I have Apef.
Just wait, about Portugal. So the first point is that the report is not signed properly. It was not signed by the president, as it was supposed to.
Gabriel.
Gabriel, President, sorry for that. I can fix the document before adding it to the library.
And we have another new point from Apef.
For Portugal, we would just like to mention that the possibility of having a joint collaboration with IPSF for the World Health Summit is extremely beneficial for us. And therefore, we would just like to highlight how important it would be for us if it is up to date, providing your best efforts to make it happen.
Thank you. Any other new points on the speaking list? On the IPSF 67th World Congress, I don't see any. So then we'll move on to ETSA Summer Meeting. Any points on this representation fund report? I don't see any. And then we'll move on to the 11th IPSF European Regional Assembly report. Any points on this? And I don't see any. The EMSA Autumn Assembly. Any questions? Points on this? Apef?
In Portugal, so we noticed that Manuel described a lot of different internal procedures that EMSA adopts. Did you have any reflection on if it would be beneficial to implement some of them in EMSA or not?
Marlene?
Marlene BPA. So the way the General Assembly works was not the way normal the General Assembly works, because EMSA also has the struggle of finding hosts of the event. So they needed to divide their focus on the one hand on organizing the event as well as the General Assembly. So it was not like prepared the normal way, and more like a little bit spontaneous. Like we also had like evening sessions and they didn't finish, and they only finished like online in October now. So I don't know how beneficial it is from like these things right now to see any implementations.
Thank you. And there are no other new points on the EMSA Autumn Assembly report. And we'll move on to the next one, Topra Careers Live 2022. Any questions, new points on this? I don't see any. And then we'll move on to the last one, the Pharma 2022 conference report. Any points, any questions on this? Yes, Annette?
Within Annette France, we encourage EMSA to continue to share these opportunities with students who are not even in a local association or in a national association, who are able to participate to these events. And to discover the role of association and industry. So we would think it's a good opportunity to continue to share it to all students so they can participate and just discover all the opportunities they have. Thank you.
Thank you, Annette. Any other new points on this report? I don't see any. Gabriel?
Gabriel, President, I close the floor for discussion on the motion.
Okay, then we'll proceed on to voting on the motion. As you can see, all of the reports will be voted on in this motion, so they will be voted on in bulk. And I ask who is against this motion? Any abstentions? And who votes for? And we have 23 votes for, none against and no abstentions, so the motion is carried unanimously. And we'll move on to the next point in the agenda, which is the Team Autumn Assembly report. And we will start with the European Affairs Department, which consists of Vice President of European Affairs, Grant Coordinator, Policy Coordinator, and Advocacy Platform Coordinator. And first one is Catarina Silva, Vice President of European Affairs, and I ask Catarina, yes, go ahead. Catarina to present her updates since presenting the report. Go ahead, Catarina.
Catarina BPEA. So since the writing of my report, I had a fortnightly meeting with Gabriel. I was a speaker at the Think Young Vaccine Coalition webinar on COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy and immunization, innovating vaccine delivery for youth. I was present at the first online APR meeting together with the EA department and at the advocacy training held by EOR, the Advocacy Platform Coordinator. I met with the European Health Parliament to finalize the proposal of the collaboration with ESSAS. I was present at the 2022 Thematic Network Speech webinar to support the Mental Health in All Policies presentation and at the Meds Disposal meeting. I delivered a presentation at the Lithuania and Netherlands TWINET regarding advocacy, pharmacy, education, and mobility opportunities. I liaised with the European Medicines Agency to proceed with the collaboration on the EMA Summit project. I started working together with Charlotte on the public consultation European Year of Skills 2023, and together with the EA department, I worked on the second post for EA Wednesdays. I was present at the MEP Alliance meeting on preparing for dedicated EU-level action on mental health. I attended the AA walkthrough, the GA preparation meeting, and the financial meeting. I analyzed the report resulting from the Omics and the Pharmaceutical Curricula Survey sent APRs. I finalized my slides for the team meeting and finished preparing the sessions I will be delivering at AA22. I attended APEP's Associative Forum where I was a speaker at. I attended the second team meeting. I was present in a meeting with the AA22RC, a meeting with the AC23RC, the APR speed meeting, the LS meeting, and the OD's meeting.
Thank you, Catarina. And now we'll take questions on my report. And we have Fesifere.
Romania. I have a question regarding your KPIs. As you stated in your report, you plan to engage students from 20 different countries at AR. And could you please elaborate us more about how do you plan to do so, and if you have something specific in your mind to engage as many students as possible?
Catarina?
Catarina BPEA. Still don't have concrete strategies on how to achieve this. I plan on having a promotional strategy earlier than the past year, because I know that a lot of students were interested in coming to AR, but because it was promoted a little later, it was not so easy for students to buy tickets to come to Brussels and attend the AR, so I intend to have a promotional strategy earlier than this. And I also think it could be feasible to have something like we have for other events, so that we have representation from all the countries in AR as well. So maybe trying to see if it's feasible to reserve spots for a certain amount of time for each member to bring students to AR.
Thank you. Then we have a new point from Aref.
We thank you for all your work you've done. We thank you for all your work you've done and the topics you chose to work on this year. We encourage you to share your great work on social media, especially Twitter. As you may know, it is a social media dedicated to representation where all our stakeholders are. We know it takes time, but in the end you'll have more visibility and more influence. And from a professional point of view, but also for students, we can more easily follow and understand your work and also share it us to our students, so they can also more understand our work also. So, and we can also be more involved. So we notice you will do it more and more, especially during this EPA. So we encourage you to do more and more again. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. And then we have a new point from PPSA.
Also, I would like to thank you for all your work, and it sounds amazing. But on the other note, I know that you are conducting a service around all the promise students regarding advocacy and policy, and I would like to ask if it's possible to share the service earlier with the APRs and other policy representatives, because it's really hard for us to share information with others and get the data on the topics. And I also, okay.
Thank you, PPSA. We'll take the next question as a new point, and Katarina, go ahead.
Continue PPA will do. I know that for the OMICS in the pharmaceutical curricula, the deadline was a little short because we needed to present the report here in AA. But for the next position paper that we have, which is on digital skills and digital health, the survey will run for like a month. So you will have enough time to share with members, to share with students that you represent, and that we also have more responses and more representation from everyone.
Thank you. And then we have a new point from KNPSB.
Amy KNPSB in the Netherlands. So we really like to thank you for helping us with the Twinnet. It was really last minute, and it was super helpful that the team could help us so quickly, but you as well, and especially your flexibility. We really appreciate that, and with that, we'd also like to share with the rest of the GA. If ever something in your own events falls through, you can always contact the EBSA team, and hopefully they can help you through an easy online session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, KNPSB. And we have a new point from Anne.
Pauline Allen France. Regarding the European After Wednesday, you mentioned that you wanted to highlight advocacy to students and raise awareness of the issues discussed at European level. European affairs and advocacy in general are quite complicated to understand, so we really appreciate your efforts and energies, and we encourage you to do so and to keep doing what you're doing, because it's really complicated to understand, and we think that doing it on Instagram is the best way to reach students. So keep doing it.
Thank you very much, Anna. And we have a new point from PPS.
So I also would like to ask if it's possible for you to share with all of the advocacy platform representatives a schedule for the whole year, so when they can expect the surveys or like the other.
The date in advance, I will tell you. So for example, when we know the release of the policy and advocacy toolkit, we will inform you of this. We will also ask for your opinion on where do you want it to be shared with you. But for other things, like we have projects that come to us like from one day to another, and we have opportunities that we want to share with you and members that have like 1 week's deadline. And for those, we cannot control the time that we have to share them with you. So we will do our best, and as soon as we have the information of opportunities that you can have, like webinars or events at an EU level, we will share them with you, and everything that is EBSA related and that is our own initiative, we will tell you as soon as we know, like the release, the survey, everything, so that you can integrate it into your own schedule.
And we have a new point from USA.
Katerina Yupsa, Ukraine. So at first I would like to thank you for your report and your work. And but unfortunately we had one issue, and I would like to ask you to focus more at the stage of connecting the new APR to the advocacy platform. Why? Because we have not, our APR have not contacted for a long time, and I said to Marlene about it. So we received the letter with a link on the chat and other information just a few weeks ago. So maybe like I'd like to ask you to focus more on this stage of connecting new APRs.
Katarina?
Katerina VPEA. I think after Jorn can as well explain a little about this, but I mean, yeah, in his personal life something happened, so the work started a little later than they were supposed to, and we tried to reach out to APRs and even LSs to ask if the LSs or the second LD would be APR so that we can include everyone in the APR group and in the Google group that we have with the emails, but sometimes the spreadsheet is not usually so updated, and we're trying to work on that in this mandate as well, so that everyone, when they change mandates, can be included in the APR name list, and everyone is updated with everything and can come to the meetings. But yes, we will give it our attention, and we will include all of you in the meetings that we have.
Thank you, Katarina. Then we have KNPSB.
Amy KMPC, the Netherlands. So in the report I saw that, or we saw, that the contact with the public health consultancy Polisante was paused. But can you give an update on that due to financial issues, if that's going to be on pause?
Katarina?
Katerina VPEA, it is going to be unpaused, and it is going to be prolongedly paused because we were not going to be having the partnership with the consultancy this year. We don't have the financial means to do that. So for any project that we had from past year that we did have the collaboration with them, they will keep working with us. So for example, in the Advocacy and Policy Toolkit, they are still collaborating with us. But for this year, we wanted to do the advocacy strategy with them and have like the stakeholder mapping and everything with them, because they do have more knowledge and skills on that than we do. But unfortunately, that's not possible for this year. But we will try to do our best to focus more on this, get more knowledge on stakeholder mapping, do as much investigation as we can, so that we still provide you with the advocacy strategy for EFSA for the next 3 years.
KNPSB, is that a clarification or a direct? Go ahead.
Okay, in the Netherlands, why would EFSA have to pay? Can you clarify that?
Yeah, it's a clarification. Thank you. Go ahead, Katarina.
Katerina VPEA, it's not a collaboration like we collaborate with other agencies. It's a paid service. So yeah, their help on the work that we do in EFSA was paid. So that's why I mean that the Advocacy and Policy Toolkit will still be done because we paid for it and it was a project from last year. But for projects of this year, we don't have the means to do so.
Thank you so much. And then we have a new point from PTSA.
Okay, PSA. So I also would like to ask, because as I noticed that UHPR don't have the like they cannot join like the police newsletters for the previous years, and also like the only available on the website is until the second edition. So I would like to ask if it's possible to share it either through the APR group or other, I don't know, Drive or something. So like every APR can have, like in the next generation, can have access to what was already released in all countries.
Katarina?
Katerina VPEA. Yes, I already managed to talk with Clay about this, and all of the part regarding advocacy and the website is a little bit delayed regarding information, so we will work on this as well, so that the website is now like updated with everything advocacy related, and it's easier for you to access not only policy newsletters and position papers, but more be updated with what we are doing in regards to advocacy.
Thank you. There are no more points on the speaking list, so I think the questions and comments are concluded. So thank you, Katarina. And we will go on to the next person in the European Affairs Department, Manuel Duarte de Almeida. Come on, Manuel. which is the grant coordinator, and will present his updates. Go ahead, Manuel.
Manuel Almeida, grant coordinator. So hi everyone. Since the writing of my report, the Erasmus CST Youth Call was open on the 18th of October, so thereby I have started and finished updating the writing templates for the team in accordance to this year's structure, the new structure. Additionally, I attended the APR meeting and the second team meeting. I also represented EPSA in a webinar from the Association of Associative Executives on the 2nd of November. And finally, I sent out the instructions and the task division to the whole team to start the writing process of the application, whilst also constantly monitoring the European Space for Award opportunities and contributing to the EA Wednesday's post-investigation, writing, and brainstorming.
Thank you, Manuel, and I open the floor for questions and comments. Anne?
Thank you for reaching out to us, even though it hasn't really paid off, as we are still trying to figure out the grants. I would encourage the rest of EPSA team to do the same, approach your full namesake across the security organization. I believe this could be really fruitful for both parties.
Thank you so much, Anne. Are there any other questions or comments? Anne?
Claudine Annette France. Do you have any contact with other treasurer? Oh, I don't know how to say it. Treasurer. Okay, you understand. Anyway, like EPSA, to know if they have different funds they have or other opportunity, so we can have the same ideas.
Manuel?
Manuel, grant coordinator. So in regards to EPSA, EMSA, EPSA, and ANSA, the nursing one, we discussed and shared good practices during the ESA meeting in September, and one of the points was funding, so we discussed that profoundly, and we shared what we did, and they shared what they did, and as I think I wrote in my report, it was not that fruitful for us in terms of new opportunities. It was more like what we did and what they were thinking of implementing based on what we already do. So, yeah. But I did contact with ELSA and the NGE. I'm waiting on the response from GE, and ELSA did respond, and that gave us some insights that are helpful.
Thank you, Manuel. Are there any other questions or comments? I don't see any, so then thank you, Manuel. And we'll go on to the next coordinator, which is Charlotte Thibault, policy coordinator. Go ahead, Charlotte.
Charlotte, policy coordinator. So since the writing of my report, I've been working still on the advocacy and policy toolkit since both are merged now. I also started to work with Katarina about the public consultation on the European Year of Skills. I reached the APRs to have their input regarding the members' news, national news. I also reached the interns to gather their interns news for the next policy newsletter. I attended the APRs meeting, the workshop meeting held by Europe about advocacy for the APRs. I attended an online meeting of mental health in all policies and an online meeting held by Mental Health Europe during the Mental Health Day. And besides that, I also continued writing and brainstorming the EA Wednesday.
Thank you, Charlotte, and I'll open the floor for questions and comments. Afef?
This is Afef Portugal, congratulations on your work. So you're not working on the first policy newsletter, and you have KPIs to involve 50% of member associations in the writing of it. We would just like to know whether your plans to actually achieve this for this position.
Charlotte?
Charlotte, policy coordinator. Thank you, Jose, for your question. So I really would like to involve all of you in the policy newsletter because I think it's really a good moment and a good opportunity for you to share all the things that you are doing at the local and at the national level. So I try to reach you the most as I can. I try to poke you sometimes, maybe too much, maybe, but I really try to involve all of you. So please, if it's not too much work for you, I would really involve you to continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. And there's a direct comment from Shusha Sabudin.
Yeah. Is it working? Yeah, so Slovenia, regarding the reach and feedback, maybe we would just like to say that it would probably be easier for us to give our inputs if you didn't send the email so close to the GA, because I think the priorities may have been elsewhere, preparing for the GA.
Charlotte?
Charlotte, policy coordinator, thank you for your comments. I sent the email like 2 weeks before the end of the GA. So if you would like to postpone a bit the deadline, I mean, we can still do it, but I was considering that it was not so much work, but I understand that it could be difficult for you.
Thank you, Charlotte. And then we still have a new point from Shusha Sabudin.
Yeah, so from Slovenia. So can you share with us some more info about how the position paper of digital skills is coming along and what are your plans for it?
Charlotte?
Charlotte, policy coordinator. So basically now we are trying to gather the information with Katarina to be sure that we are aligned with our thoughts, and then we will for sure release a survey for you to complete all the information and also have your inputs, because we really think that the most important inputs are yours and we want to represent you as much as we can. And so okay, Charlotte, policy coordinator, and also I would like to precise that the release of the position paper will be at the annual reception in February. I don't know if you remember that.
Thank you, Charlotte. And then we have a new point from Anne. Also, a small technical comment from us. Please, when you raise a new point, stand up so that the scrutineers can see you and we make this fast.
Marion, Annette, France, thank you, Charles, for your honor.
Thank you, Annette. And then we have a new point from Abel.
Portugal, your KPI is like to involve 30% of the ETSA member association in the action groups. We noticed that last year we found a lot of difficulties to actually have the members engaged in the action groups and actively participating on them. Do you have any strategy to try to counter this for this year?
Thank you, Abel. Charlotte?
Charlotte, policy coordinator, thank you for the question, Jose. So first of all, I would really like to emphasize that I would like to ask what are your main interests so we can better achieve some interesting things, because as the action group will be after the release of the position paper, we would really be free to tackle whatever subject you would like to. So I think it's also a good way to involve you in the process, and so you can give me your feedbacks about what you would like to do, and I think it involves you more like this.
Thank you, Charlotte. And then we have a new point from the ESA.
Olivia from PSA. And so I also would like to thank you for your work. And actually my question will be something similar to the previous one. But I would like to ask, how would you validate the work of the action groups? Because I think the participants of the action group would also like to have what groups maybe they would like to get after they join.
Clarification from Charlotte.
Charlotte, policy coordinator, what do you mean by validate?
Go ahead.
Olivia Vincent. So I mean, what are your goals, in general? For example, if you have action groups, how do you plan to get them engaged? Because just writing a paper or saying okay, we want to do some good stuff, is probably not enough for like people who are occupied with the work or other stuff to do. So they need to have the specific, like, I don't know, goal. So that's it.
Charlotte, policy coordinator. So basically, I think like how I envision this is that we will have a previous like meeting all together where we will try to have a common goal, and afterwards I really would like them to like collect all the information about like their personal vision of this, and then with all of this according to the subject we will reach or not the goal. But yeah, I don't know if it answered the question.
Thank you. Then we have a new point from CCPSA.
Dominica Didier, the Czech Republic. We think that would increase engagement in the sending of the national news. It maybe would be further explain like what we're looking for, because it says relevant discussions, but we're not really sure what's relevant enough or interesting enough, so we should send it.
Charlotte?
Okay, Charlotte, policy coordinator. Thank you for your input, Dominica.
Thank you. And then we have one last point from Asel.
Hello, from Azir. I just wanted to ask for regarding the update of KPI 4.3.4. I just wanted to know what led you to decide to have a goal of at least 10% of members actually in public consultation.
Charlotte?
Charlotte, policy coordinator. So basically, I reached out to Chloe, the VP, like the last VPA, and she explained that basically, usually the members are not really involved in the public consultation, so it's really a challenge for me, the 10%. So I really try to be like to include you in all of this as much as I can, and I think it's really a challenge for this year, like the 10%, but I really try to strive for it.
Thank you. And there are no more points on the speaking list, so I think the questions and comments are concluded. Thank you, Charlotte. And we'll pass on to the next coordinator, Jorn Ruben Pikeler, Advocacy Platform Coordinator. Go ahead, Jorn.
Thank you, Andre. So, you're an Advocacy Platform Coordinator. So since the writing of my report, I have organized a training on advocacy and European affairs for the APRs. I attended the second team meeting. I presented another workshop on advocacy and EU affairs to the ELSs on ELS Day. I organized the APR speed meeting session and presented at the first attendees meeting. Furthermore, I processed the outcomes of the APR survey, updated all the contact information for the advocacy platform, investigated more possibilities about the advocacy action groups, and made a schedule for the new APR trainings.
Thank you, Jorn, for the updates, and I'll open the floor for questions and comments. Apep first.
First of all, we just wanted to emphasize that it is totally fine if like, sometimes you have to take a period off and you are not like managing to just administer the advocacy platform. But for future notes, like if it could happen again, we would just like to ask you to please notice us before, because we were a lot of time like not knowing anything about the advocacy platform. It was kind of hard also for us to like know the way that it was like managed and what was happening outside advocacy, and the advocacy platform should be the main way of any advocacy platform representatives who get to know advocacy.
Thank you, Apep. Jorn?
You're an Advocacy Platform Coordinator. Yes, you're completely right. I saw a lot of agreement around the room already when you mentioned this point, and I just want to apologize for the absence I took. You're completely right when you say that the Advocacy Platform is the main point for access, advocacy, and connecting the advocacy of the members. And yeah, it's a continuous process and it should keep continuous, and that's why I've been really trying to pick up the pace again and get things up and running. I think you've already saw that in the past few weeks when things went to go again, so I'm planning to keep up this pace.
Thank you, Jorn. Okay, thank you. And then we have a new point from President.
Vlad Veronia, congratulations on your work, and I would like to ask you regarding the online discussion forum, what are your future plans and your future goals regarding this?
Yeah.
You're the Proxy Platform Coordinator. Thank you, Vlad, for the question. As of now, we have not started the work on the online discussion forum yet. We will be deciding on the topic together with Katarina. I think we might have discussed to link the topic of the ODF to the same topic of the AR, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah. So you'll get some more information about that soon.
Thank you. Clarification from Abel.
Portugal. Okay, in this topic, the online discussion forum, like last year you had this whole like reflection on nutrition. I was kind of getting that was a question, like the plan for actually changing the online discussion forum. Because last year we had some reflection in mind. Can you please further develop on that?
Yeah.
You're the Proxy Platform Coordinator. Yeah, I can elaborate a bit more on that because the plans for the ODF are basically what we decided in the feedback for last year as well. So what the plan will be for the revised online discussion forum is that promotional materials will be ready a lot sooner, and we will also actively engage more with you, the APRs, to provide you with the materials also to adequately inform and prepare the students that will be attending the session. And this way we hope to get more engagement and a more productive session, and also more students joining for the discussion, because it's very worthwhile discussion for them to have.
Thank you, Jorn. And then we have a new point from Anne.
Marion Annette, France. How many people will be included in each advocacy action group? How many people per
Jorn?
You're the Proxy Platform Coordinator. Thank you, Marion, for the question. So I'll begin with the last part of your question, how many people were involved last year. So last year we had 3 advocacy action groups. So just to give some information, we had one on mental health, one on policy, and one on public health, which worked on a public health campaign. And in both the policy and the public health action group, around, I don't know the exact numbers, but around 16 people were active, which was actually a bit of a large group, so we split the whole group in 2. And for the mental health documentary, I think it was around 10 participants, 8 to 10. And for this year, it really will depend on the total amount of action groups we will have, because we are currently still investigating the possibility of having an action group on mobility. And the whole structure of the action group on educational affairs will also have to be further discussed with MOVE. But for the action group in total, I am thinking of around 10 participants per action group.
Thank you, Jorn. And then we have another new point from Annette.
Annette France. First, we would like to thank you for your honesty and transparency about your work and commitment. We remind students about all. We encourage you to make advocacy platform representative more active, not to do more meetings or anything else that would take time for you, but just to send more regular information, opportunity links, because it's about advocacy, so it's about news and politics news and anything regarding advocacy. So we can, in a way, that we can just us be more informed, so it won't take time for you, and we can go more be involved and involved.
Jorn?
You're the Proxy Platform Coordinator. Thank you, Pauline. Yes. For this, I think the EU monthly updates will help in bringing more information and news, and also I plan to use the advocacy platform WhatsApp group more actively and use it as a more accessible and easy way to share these kind of opportunities with you. And yeah, just also to reiterate, the US APRs find something you think is of interest, you are also very welcome to share it in the action group as well. But most of the opportunities will of course come from our side, and we will inform you about it in the action group and the budget group.
Thank you, Jörn, and we have a direct from APEF.
Well, Portugal, just to add a little bit on the discussion, it would also be nice for you, this was already discussed in the past, but to also share some news regarding the EU things that are being done by the European institutions. And because this, like, we know for a fact that some associations don't really do a lot of advocacy in their work, and we already discussed this during APR meetings, during even the last day. But this could be also a way to actually engage them and interest them in starting to develop some advocacy projects, and that's also the main goal of the advocacy platform, right? So this is also a suggestion that we would like to add on this.
Thank you. Annette, is it still a direct to what APEF said? Then we'll take it as a new point, and go ahead, Jörn.
Jörn, advocacy platform coordinator. Yes, just very agree with what you said. We should use it more and also try to get them more engaged. But I think it's a process that goes hand in hand with a lot of other factors as well. So for instance, with the NEO APR trainings that have now been initialized, I think that will also help in getting the APRs involved in advocacy from the start more, and sending out more the EU news more frequently. I think it all is in connection with one another, and the one will help the other, because when there's more understanding about European affairs in general, people are more inclined to be active and participate actively in both the APR meetings as well as the projects as advocacy in general.
Thank you, Jörn. And then we have a new point from CCDSA.
Dominica in the Czech Republic is kind of addition to what Anna and Anna were just saying, that we also like to encourage you to organize a speaker workshop for the APRs. It would be very beneficial, because then also if APRs were able to use Twitter properly, they would also be very much closer to European institutions and all the news. Thank you.
CCDSA, Jörn.
Jörn, advocacy platform coordinator. Thank you, Dominica. Yes, this was also one of the questions that Theo had in my report, and I plan on organizing a further workshop again. I organized one last year, and I think people found it very helpful and beneficial, so you will get more information about that soon. I'll see if I can incorporate it to the next APR.
Thank you, Jörn. And then we have a new point from Shisusu.
Yes, Slovenia. Firstly, I would like to thank you for the workshop you did on the LSA. I think it was very informative. So the question is regarding the new APR meetings. What information do you think are the most important ones to include in there, and are they going to look like the workshop? Yes.
Thank you, Shisusu. Just keep in mind that not to raise two questions on one new point, because those were two new points. So. But we'll take the question now. Go ahead, Jörn.
Jörn, advocacy platform coordinator. Thank you, Shasha. So the exact contents of the NEO APR training are still to be devised. They will also be dependent on the rest of the APR welcome package that we're still developing. But a lot of it will contain parts of the workshop that you also received during LSA. It will consist mostly of the vital and basic information about the EU institutions, the European Health Union, advocacy in general, and how EBSA's advocacy platform works, and also just mention some more things about the monthly updates and the WhatsApp group, and to encourage them and show them ways to be active and engage active in EBSA's advocacy platform. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Jörn. And then we have another new point from APEF.
Portugal. You have stated in your KPIs that you were planning to construct a database of advocacy interested, 30% of the members before the autumn assembly. We were wondering what are your plans now? At what timeline are you planning for this APR survey?
Jorn?
Jorn, Advocacy Platform Coordinator. Thank you for raising the point. It's actually a very good point. It's good to discuss it with you here now. Because this was one of my plans for this year, to extend the APR survey to also include more passions and interests and investigate how we can interact with that advocacy-wise. Unfortunately, due to the aforementioned issues, I did not have the time to do this. However, I have already constructed a framework in a document and consulted with a professor in survey methodology and web design, and he has already approved of the format, so I am now working on constructing the survey itself, and you will get more of that soon.
Thank you, Jorn. And we have a new point from PPSA.
PSA. So at the beginning of the month, you sent a survey to create the schedule for the APRs meeting, and I would like to ask when the schedule will be delivered and when you on the next
Thank you, PPSA. Go ahead, Jorn.
Jorn is the platform coordinator. Thank you, Olivia. I will say that I've barely seen such results that were so diverse than on that question. I mean, I hoped for the best, and there were some dates and moments that I think can be worthwhile to further investigate. There are 2 to 3 moments each month that had a significantly higher attendance indication than the rest. So the next step for that will be to single out those 3 data points and see if we can generalize that in a smaller survey and see if we can find one data out of that. I plan to do this quickly after AA. If it takes too long, I will just send out the doodle for the next APR survey, because we should wait so long.
Thank you, Jorn. And then we have a new point from Annette.
By Annette France, on the same page of what happened today, it will be possible to create a video thread or a shared drive where all the members will share with each other their work, so they can compare them.
Jorn?
Jorn, Advocacy Platform Coordinator. Thank you, Marion. We already discussed this during the team meeting, and it's coming.
Thank you, Jorn. And we have a new point from CBSA.
So I have a question. Are there plans on revising the policy that first started last year regarding access to data? You kind of dropped the deadline on members met the deadline, so I'm wondering if
Thank you, CBSA. Jorn?
Jorn, Advocacy Platform Coordinator. Yes, thank you for the question. It's unfortunate. I still feel that the action group on digitalization and clinical data was dropped. I will try to investigate if it is possible to reopen this initiative. However, there was a reason that it was discontinued, because the members thought it was a very complex topic. So we will really have to think that we don't fall in the same pitfalls when we try and continue the same project. However, with also the survey on digitalization that's being conducted now, and the European Health Data Space that is also now up and happening, I feel like the project has been getting, the whole topic of digitalization has been getting more attention, also creating some momentum. So I think it's very worthwhile to further investigate this more, because it's a very pressing matter, and I agree it should be addressed.
Thank you, Jorn. I would like to remind you that the time for this asking questions on this department has passed. And we have 2 more new points on the speaking list from Annette. Do you feel like you want to take any more questions? Yes? No? It's generally no from the room. Then we will go on to the next department. Thank you, God. Clarification from APEP.
So that is Portugal, so the period for asking questions can be right. But isn't that for the registering our points? Like, if there were already 2 points raised by Anna before, they should be able to present it and then we're voting for you, right?
Gabriel?
Dear President, maybe I can clarify this because I see what you mean from what we have in Portugal. The period for questions can go on forever, and so there's not really a set period for questions. That raising maybe was a little different with but the amendment is that the estimated period that was in the GA agenda for this point was over.
Yes, sorry for misphrasing that. And we'll go on to the next department, the Internal Affairs Department. And first one is Marlene Steininger, Vice President of Internal Affairs. Go on, Marlene.
Marlene DBA. Since the writing of my report, I have filled in the PR form for the support fund of AC23, was in contact with people interested in individual membership in EPSA, attended a meeting about the Summer University 22 survey report, had a meeting with the mobility coordinator, had an LS check-ins, allocated new buddies into the buddy project, welcomed new LSs to the LS pool, attended a meeting with the AA22 reception committee, had the team hangout that was connected to the walkthrough of the team of the event, reviewed the minutes that were sent out, registered for the BPHD National Congress for the Visiting Members Fund, answered all LS requests that came up, updated the LS master contact sheet, worked on the team meeting, the LS Day and the Autumn Assembly, helped wherever I could with the event preparations that were not in my portfolio, held the LS trainings, both live and online, attended and presented the points I was in charge of at the team meeting, attended all spontaneous meetings that arose during live events, worked on general executive matters, announced the Buddy Project Challenge, held the LS Day, held the live LS meeting, attended the ODs and APR meeting, held the Meet Me Fair, and took care of any requested questions that came up before during the event.
Thank you, Marlene, and I will open the floor for questions and comments. APEP?
So, Portugal, first of congratulations on your work. We really have been noticing the effort you've been putting into this, trying to engage all the member associations more and more and more, and that's very valuable. But that's not my question. My question is actually another question. It's a comment. We just wanted to highlight the fact, like the need of increasing the support fund for the FA event. Because from our experience, we noticed that for the event, 25% was not enough, because even though we had student initiative, 25 were not enough to just get them the possibility of actually attending.
Thank you, Albert. Marlene?
Marlene BPA. So the reason why the decision was taken was because there was a discussion last year whether it would make a difference in the attendance between 50% support and 25% support. And throughout many meetings, also private feedback that we got, that was there was no difference. Then we implemented it because what we saw was that it was also wishes from the members to have 25%, but more spaces. And not less spaces, but 50%. We saw that the interest was very low, so we already voted on the last on an executive meeting that for the support fund for AC23, it will be 50% again.
Thank you. And then we have a new point from NTSA.
Hello, NTSA North Macedonia. I just want to congratulate you and to thank you all your hard work so far, and especially for the wonderful EPSA presentation that you held at NTSA Orientation Day. That sparked a huge interest among our fresheners, our new students, and their future collaboration and involvement in EPSA. So thank you so much.
Marlene?
Marlene BPA, thank you for the nice words. Also, Albert, thank you. And I'm very happy to hear that it has had a positive outcome, because it's very easy for us to do online presentations with also very short notice.
Thank you. And then we have a new point from KMPSD.
And Amy came to the Netherlands, so we would also like to thank you for your report and your work. It's really clear that you're very passionate about it, and we really like working with you. And we have a question about new membership applications. So yesterday, obviously we were all there about the Greek association wanting to apply, but we spotted that there's also a Turkish association that wants to apply. And you did, we all now know that you do indeed help with the contact between the associations that are already a member of EFSA. But we were wondering if you also investigate and aid the possibility of, for example, the associations joining together for a national one, or if you're only there to make the bridge.
Thank you, KMPSD. Marina?
My name is Vivek. I think I'm me. So in general, no, I'm not encouraging them to join the international organization because I'm here to be the bridge and not to tell members about their internal structure of the association. So the thing that I do is just open, also the space with all the Turkish association is open, so that they are all aware of what's going on and that somebody new is interested in joining. And then I give as much background information as possible. I also don't evaluate the applications per se. I help with the guidance and that all the applications run correctly regulations-wise.
Thank you, Marina. And we have a new point from Akko.
Annika of Austria, thank you. First of all, could you move a little bit closer to the Austrian table, please? Okay. Thank you. And also, we have an actual question. What do you think of grouping the neo-LSs in little groups instead of doing it one-to-one? Can you please stay close to
Marlene?
Marlene VPA. So the neo-LSs are grouped together in small little groups, depending on their availability and whenever they change their mandates. So when we have more LSs changing their mandates at the same time, we do have, I'm trying to find the doodle with the common date, but when we have an LS that is changing at a time where no other LS is changing, I will not make them wait for weeks before we do the neo-LS training because that is not the point of introducing them to their work at the beginning of the mandate. But maybe as an example, I had this last week, we had a live neo-LS training where we also 3 people, so we were, so I can group them together.
Thank you, Marlene. Then we have Shusisvudil.
Slovenia. I'm not going to repeat everybody, but thank you for all your work. I think it's really excellent and helpful. So our question is if you maybe have any ideas on how to help RC's registration officers to get the process run more smoothly concerning the LSs updating the spreadsheets.
Thank you. With the Marina.
Yes, I think we have seen with this registration that there is potential to improve, and I think it is mainly about informing. So because when we had, I think the original annual Congress 21, there was a talks about having a meeting with the LSs just an explanatory to see the process and why it is important for everybody to be on time and be fast with the confirmations by LSs. What I have done for this event specifically is just I got regular lists of which associations haven't confirmed the people in a longer time, and then I poke them all individually to also have a little bit more of a sped up process and personal reminders.
Thank you. She's with the direct.
Slovenia. So are you planning this meeting for the registrations for the AC23 or certain
Marlene?
I have an email scheduled to go out as soon as we're back from the out of office. because I didn't want to confuse everybody with like this registration for the AA22 that were basically up until the event. And if I'm opening another email thread about registration, but for a different event, there might be confusion going on. So I wanted to wait until basically the this event is over, and then
Thank you, Marlene. And then we have a new point from GPS.
And the brand program said it has a lot on the 5 most
Thank you, GPSF. And direct from Apple.
First of all, I have this one. I would also like to ask you to have some more this kind of opportunity because it's really good for the whole association, but also for Amazon. So we really think that this is going in a good way.
Thank you, Apple. And last point on the speaking list, Uksa.
Hey, Katerina, Ukraine. I was wondering, like during the LSA, some LCs said that they faced with a problem with their, like they didn't have a good turnover from the previous LCs. So do you have any plans how to solve the problem, or how to just to kind of with this issue?
Thank you, Uksa. Marlene.
Marlene VPA, this is sadly not a topic that is like existing only this mandate. It has been going on for like a while. I see my predecessors like nodding. So in general, this was also why the DLS training was introduced in the first place. What I tried to adapt it with the feedback that we got from the team, and also I asked you during the class meeting. And what I also plan to do, but did not have time for these changes, is the Annex 2 of the LS handbook is a structure of handover, like there are handover guidelines. And I did plan to revise them, but I didn't have time in, like with everything else going on, to have them properly done in time for the regulation changes. So this is a project that I will tackle in time for like the next regulation changes.
Thank you, Marlene. And that was it with the questions and comments. Now, there's a new point from PDSA.
I don't think it's fun. I just wanna say my private thank you for introducing me as one of the new SRS to the family, and all thank you for all your effort for making us on our family.
Thank you, PPSA. And if there are no any new points, I think we can proceed with the next point. Sorry, let me update the presentation, which is Marina Sabina Tsatsalivi, technical from Gabriel.
Dear President, so Marina did do a report, but according to regulations, precisely for the situation she's running a Congress now, she didn't have to do a report. We changed the class GA. Currently she's here, so she'll be able to still to ask questions, but there will be a final RC report still presented in the next GA when all of the work of the Congress is concluded, where you can also ask questions.
Thank you. Marina, do you want to present your updates? Go ahead.
Marina, chairperson of the AA 2022. So I don't really know what to say about updates since we're at the event, the actual event. Would really like to know if you have any questions on the report that I already wrote. There will be a final report from me as a chairperson, but since this report was also submitted, you can ask any question you have on this, and any question you have on the event in general until now.
Thank you, Martina. First, we have a point from GPSF.
And thank you, Marina, for everything. And I just want to say from us that you did an amazing work despite all the difficulties you went through.
Thank you, EPSF, and we have a new point from Shishis Kudu.
Yeah, Slovenia. Yes, firstly from our side as well, thank you for organizing, it's been great. But our question is, if maybe to you or also to the EPSA team, what happened with the number of alumni? Because I think you didn't quite understand it from the report why the number was raised and then still it was still there.
Thank you, Shishis Kudu. Martina?
Marina, chairperson AA 2022. So the thing is that initially we were planning for less alumni to come, in generally. So we had some plans for the alumni weekend to book for like 25 people. So for 15 people went booking for the hotel, so that if the rooms are not covered, we only pay for 15. During some past GAs, because the event has been organized for like 2 years now. So during some past meetings and GAs, it was discussed that maybe there's a lot of interest from alumni and we should raise it to 50 alumni. So we booked the hotel for 30 alumni. And at the end, only 10 people came. So we were like 5,000 euros less in income, which was a huge problem. The reason for this is like probably that the flights were really expensive to come to Greece during this time. But this is also something that we've been mentioning since our bid, that it's the national day, like some days before the Congress, so the flight would be very expensive and we should book early. So that was really a bad moment for us because it's a lot of money. And we initially planned for less. Truth is that we could also make the decision to not raise the number. But back then, it sounded like there was a lot of interest, so why not do it? That was the reason for the raise, and then the people that didn't show up.
Thank you. Marlene, do you still have a direct to what Martina said? Yeah, go ahead.
Marlene BPA, since Gil is not here, so from EPSA side it was also that very many alumni cancelled last second without, like, only on the third or fourth book, whether they're finally coming or not, even though they said before they would be coming. And then, like, a few days before we got informed that they wouldn't be coming after all.
Thank you. She's with it.
Yeah,
You said that that also brought a lot of financial issues. How does that reflect on the budget? Can you explain a bit about this?
Marina?
Marina, chairperson of AA 2022. Yeah, it's the fun part, financing. So 5,000 euros are a lot. It's a lot of money. It's not the whole unforeseen, but it's a lot. It's a part of the unforeseen, which is supposed to be around 5% of the total budget of the event. So 5,000 is a lot of money. We had to cut a lot from social events, to be honest, to be able to actually have the event, because most of the event is happening in the hotel. So except for the social events and public health events that will be in a public place, no hosts. All of the rest is happening here, and we paid a huge amount for the minimum amount of participants for this hotel. So we had to pay for the rooms, for the accommodation, for the meals, and for the educational venue, and the sponsors area that is outside of this room. So those were costs we could not cut on. It was agreed, it was signed, so there was nothing that could be done. So the less money we got, the less we could provide for social events. And because the alumni weekend is self-sustainable, the thing in our case, the thing is that because the alumni are staying here in the hotel and also they have the meals here in the hotel, they are in the total amount that we are paying in the hotel. So if we cut from their 250 fee that they would pay, those 5,000 would be used for the whole alumni weekend, but it's also part of the amount that would be paid at the hotel. So we had to take money from the social events and pay to the hotel so that the alumni can also stay here. I don't know if it's clear because it's self-sustainable, but in our case, some things are included in the total amount and it's getting a bit confusing. If you have any more questions, you can ask on this instead.
Thank you, Martina. Is that clear? Okay. And then we have a new point from Apple.
Annika, I'm Austria. Thank you very much for your hard work, and we really enjoyed the event. We wanted to ask about the 35,000 euros missing that we read about in the report. And we also read that maybe individuals would have to cover it. We wanted to ask if you have any ideas how this could be avoided, because it sounds like a very shocking way of doing it for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Apple. Martina?
Marina, chairperson AA22. So it has already happened, to be honest. So we were missing, this is, when I wrote the report, it was 35,000. So in the meantime, we found a lot of more sponsorships. The exact amount of money we got from sponsorship, etc., we'll know it after the event, because people are still joining as donors, let's say, for the event without advertisement. So we will know the final income after the event. And the thing is that because the hotel has to be paid before the event, there was individuals did give some money with the intention of getting them back, of course, from GPSF when the sponsors paid, because we also had some sponsors that we have signed or we are waiting to sign, and they really wish to participate, but they will pay right after the event. So this money will come back to GPSF, and GPSF will pay back to the individuals that lend their money for the events to happen, which is probably going to be quite soon after the event, from the general emails that we have right now from the sponsorship. So these 35,000 were covered, almost all of them are covered now. The hotel is paid, everything is working perfectly, but now the individuals right after the event will start getting their money back from GPSF. But yeah, it was really stressful to actually do that, and a lot of legal procedures to be covered, and it was not, like, the past weeks were not very easy for the actual event to happen, but at the end everything went smoothly.
Thank you, Martina. She's a
Yes, I should for the Slovenia. I have a question for this scheme for you. Is that how it's usually done if there is like a minus in the budget? Because it seems like a lot of stress, really stressful, and for the individuals to give their money.
Martina?
Marina, chairperson AA22. I really don't know how it happens with other events. What I can say about our event is that it started getting organized like 2 years ago, when the situation was completely different globally. So a lot of things were changing every 2 or 3 months at the beginning, and every week during the last 6 months of the organizing. So we had to adapt to the market changes, because every investigation that we were doing at the beginning and before the bid, after the bid, some months after the bid, started to completely change. So there were a lot of things happening in Europe and in the world that were affecting the sponsors and the companies and how they function. And we had a lot of sponsors dropping at the same time because they couldn't cover what they promised before signing, of course, but still those were money that we were supposed to get at some point, and we are not going to get them. It was a procedure that we had to adapt in every situation, every different situation with both COVID and other things that were happening. So I think that this event went through a lot of milestones, let's say, in the general world evolution. I really don't know how to say that. So I think that the minus that we have, like I haven't seen it happen, like individuals covering in another event. I can't be sure. But for me, when I was elected, something like that, I don't remember it happening. In this case, we decided to do it only because we were, how can I say that? We thought that, okay, the event is not going to happen. And we know that very, very little time before the event. And we cannot give money back to participants if this happens, because the hotel has already taken the money. So we have to make this work somehow. The event has to be done. And then we'll find ways to bring the money back to the individuals. At the end, it worked out a lot better than we thought, so the money will also is there, so it will be returned. But in any case, even if it was not already there to be returned, we would have made the same decision because we were responsible for this event. We had to make it happen in any case. So we have to do that. But I don't know what's the case with other events. But I can tell for ours that it was a big part during 2 years, so many changes, and we had to adapt a lot of things.
Thank you, Martina. I would like to tell you to please keep your points short because we have 10 more minutes and 2 more reports. So, thank you. No worries. And PhD, do you still have a direct? Yeah, go ahead.
Teresa, PhD. First of all, thank you for all the hard work, and we really appreciate the stress that you're going through right now to get this happening. But I would like to put an emphasis to the entire GA that we cannot actually be standing around and wonder why we can't have somebody to host if we have things like this lying on the table and there's no security plan for this. I feel like we should address this on the
Thank you, but I would like to remind you that this was a new point and not a direct comment to what Martina just said. Please keep that in mind, everyone. Aho, do you have a direct to PhD? Yeah, go ahead.
Annika out of Austria, do you agree with your PhD that we should consider to implement or at least investigate the safety net for those occasions? Because otherwise we won't have any events anymore. Thank you.
Thank you, Aho. Marina?
Marina, Chairperson AA22. Yes, I do believe there should be a safety net, something for the associations to feel safe that in any case the event can be done with less. I already know that Excellence investigated ways for the events to be more feasible for also smaller associations. But I would like to emphasize that it's also the case that from country to country a lot of things change. So each time someone applies, maybe the safety net should be investigated for the every time host because things are very different. Even the VAT, like a special tax, that the base is different from country to country, and sometimes it makes a huge difference. So it should be done in a case-to-case basis, I think, as well.
Thank you, Martina. And there are no more points on the speaking list, so I think we can pass on to the next. Yes, go on, Martina.
Marina, Chairperson AA22. So I would like to thank all of you for your collaboration. It was a really nice time, and even though what you hear right now might make you feel that we're stressed and that it was a lot of stress and everything, we're having a great time having you here. We are really enjoying the event, and we really hope that you are also enjoying it. We're doing our best, and whenever you need us, we'll be there to provide everything. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Martina. And we will go on to the next coordinator, Kathy Ramos, events coordinator. Go on, Kathy.
Kathy, events coordinator. I will start with my updates. Since the writing of the report, Kathy has had a meeting with one of the member associations to discuss organizing events and liaise with several other associations to chat about events during AA22. She has finished the SU22 evaluation report and prepared the AA22 evaluation survey. She liaised with the educational department on collecting feedback for the sessions of the educational program. She gave feedback on the bid for SU23, shared a bit with the team in LSS, shared the feedback with the RC. She informed the LSS about the open call for the upcoming EPSA events. She liaised with Beatrice training coordinator of the University about the hosting of upcoming TSDs. She prepared a waiver of liability and a harmless agreement and deposit agreement. She shared them with the executive. She prepared most of the educational booklet. She collected all the items, prepared the auction in the raffle, and liaised with the design coordinator to make small designs, adding the auction items. She liaised with Thiago on the selling of the merch. She worked on the logistics for the auction and the raffle. She read and commented on all the team reports. She presented the shared folder on the member events during the last day. She prepared and made the first attending session. She planned a meeting with the RC for AC23 during the AA22 and is planning a small introduction meeting with the newly elected SU22 RC. And she assisted the AA22 RC wherever necessary.
Thank you so much, Kathy, and I open the floor for questions and comments. That's it.
Thank you for your hard work. And regarding your report, as you stated, you want to organize an online workshop on how to organize such events. And I would like to ask you if you want to continue your personal collaboration and training coordinator, and also include the information about organizing training events.
Kathy?
Kathy, that's great. Okay, there are several questions. I'll just start with the first one, which was on the online event on how to organize event. We always have one during the event, so I will have one on Saturday. But one example is that LSs can never join because they're always in the OD, in the GA. And aside from that, also only the people that are attending the event can join. But I'm not sure what the question specific was.
Clarification from Secretary.
So I thought, based on your report, that you want to organize a workshop online after this event ends about explaining to us, to members, the steps towards organizing an event. And I thought you can add also information about organizing trainings events.
Kathy, events coordinator, yes, now the question is clear. Yes, I was already planning on including also TNT information on this.
Thank you, Kathy, and we have a new point from the PhD.
So just on the PhD, just a comment, we would like to thank you for your role for the Southern University. You are very helpful and very supportive of us, and it really helped with the safety felt very comfortable working with you with that stuff. So thank you for that collaboration.
Thank you, PhD, and we have a new point from Apple.
So I've been fortunate, so firstly thank you for your work ethic. We're not like prolonging ourselves on it, really nowadays. We just have a small question. So your third KPI is about filling a survey for the EBSA event. What survey is this? Like a survey for the participants to fill after the event?
Thank you, Apple. Kathy?
Kathy, events coordinator. Yes, each EBSA event you have like a survey will be distributed around 1 week after the event. Mostly because we always change the questions a bit on what the feedback was during the event. For example, if a lot of people are complaining or saying like, hey, we're eating today, we will include a question like, hey, would you prefer the next event to eat earlier, later, kind of already based on the feedback. So that's why we don't share like during the event itself, and we need some time to prepare it. But now all the questions are there. Only like for example, one of the sessions got cancelled, so the question on that session has to be erased.
Thank you, Kathy. Then a direct from Apple.
So at Portugal, then we have a suggestion to actually increase the number of responses to it, which is making it mandatory for receiving the policy.
Thank you, Kathy.
Kathy, events coordinator. We have discussed this a lot before, but one of the things that's good about the survey is that it is anonymous. And if you make it mandatory, there's no reward. We have thought about it, but we cannot really think of a way where it's mandatory, but still anonymous. Because we have thought about like a lot of different options. For example, getting some sort of code, but still if you get a code, technically everyone, for example, I would know which code is connected to which person, and I could see what the answers are. We thought about, for example, doing it through countries. If you say, for example, let the LS know we have 40 attendees, and then we can say the LS say we have 30 from your country. But then there are also some countries that have like 2 or 1. So that's also not really feasible, and we've tried to come up with solutions, but we don't know. So if you have any solutions on making it mandatory and anonymous, it's very welcome. We couldn't come up with any.
Thank you, Kati. And then we have a new point from EPSA, dropped, and then a new point from APO.
Annika of Austria, thank you very much for this. The general point, we would like to propose the 9.40 to limit the speaking time to 1 minute.
Thank you very much. Then we have a new point from Maeva.
Mela Anuna, on behalf of the RSC of the AC21, I wanted to thank you for following up also after the event, especially with the financial matters. Just as an advice and those for the future, as we discussed, it's good that you keep that communication, even informally, but don't keep it to that. Try to have as many as people involved, at least informed, even over email, so that in case someone drops, you still have some people that are aware, and if not, you are covered and you know that you used all the communication means necessary to put to give the right information. But thank you for the rest.
Thank you, and there are no more points on the speaking list. And I think, Kati?
Kati, events coordinator. If you still want to discuss events, there is event-based approach. Now I have the whole of these here, so just a promotion of events here.
Thank you very much, and I think we can go to the next coordinator. Thank you, Kati, which is Chloe Lebeau, alumni coordinator, and a small 1-minute technical pause so that we can enter Zoom because Chloe will be joining online.
9.14.
Back. There's a 9.14 proposed by AFOP, seconded by APEF. I would like to remind you that the procedural motion 9.14 states that it's a motion to extend or limit the time limits of the debate, so ask the proposer to specify the limit.
Annika of Austria, 1 minute.
Okay, so the 9.14 is to limit the time of debate to 1 minute. And I open the floor for discussion. Gabriel?
Gabriel present, I close the floor for discussion.
Thank you. Then we'll proceed to voting on the 9.14. Who votes against the 9.14? Any abstentions? And who votes for? Okay, so it's 20 votes for, 2 abstentions and 1 against for the 9.14. So from now on, we will only take points for 1 minute during debates. And we will go on with the next coordinator, which, as I said, is Chloe. So Chloe, you can, if you can hear us, you can start presenting your updates. Can you talk again, please?
Can you hear me well?
Yes? No? Is that okay? Okay, everybody can hear you. You can go.
So, Chloe, alumni coordinator. So, the report I have to maybe not necessarily have a week to it, was format of the perspective in bringing on November. I have had a meeting with the coordinator I am communicating with the Rhode Island Board of General Assembly and have the happy to get report and thank you regarding
Thank you so much, Chloe, and I open the floor for questions and comments on Chloe's report. NPSB?
Elina KPC, the Netherlands. So as we understood, the alumni chat for this GA was only made 1 second before actually the GA already started. Is that true, and what was the reason for it?
Thank you, Chloe. Any other new points or comments on Chloe's report? I don't see any, so thank you, Chloe. And we will move on. To the 63rd General Assembly Organization Working Group, final report. Go ahead, Carolina.
Hello everyone, my name is Carolina and I've been the VPA last year. That's why I was the head of the GA Organization Working Group and kind of the chairperson of the event. For those of you who are not aware, we didn't find the host for AC last year, so we had to organize the event ourselves as the executives are mandated to host the GA every year. So yeah, everything was in the report. Nothing was done except for writing of the report, and every person in the organization working group okayed it. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you so much, Carolina. I will open the floor for questions and comments. We have Shusha to do.
Yeah, Shasha from Slovenia. Thank you for organizing the GA. It was very lovely. So our question is regarding the future events. If potentially there would be found, no host would be found, you wrote that you would suggest it be held in Brussels. Do you think this would lead to a lower number of associations?
Thank you, Carolina.
Carolina Alba. I wrote this because we were able to organize the event because we have 35,000 euros available to host the event. And for example, this year it wouldn't be possible because EPSA just doesn't have the kind of money to host an event like this. And it would be the easiest to have it in Brussels because EPSA is based in Brussels and we could have the whole team in the house. No, it would be the easiest. Logistically, it would be the easiest for EPSA to. With the associations, it's really up to you. I don't know, finding an Airbnb for 2 people is not that hard. So I think it would be able for the ODs to come. I know it's harder than not the easiest, but on the other side, for EPSA to it will also not be easy.
Thank you, Carolina. Are there any new points on the GA organization? Oh, Marina?
Marina, speaking as executive member. Thank you for organizing event when, like not really event, but the GA, when regulations basically stated all we had to do was provide a GA room and everything else was, could also have been just whatever member association for to be able to come. So I want to thank you for also trying to tackle logistics and everything.
Thank you. And then we have a new point from APEC.
Hello. I just want to say that we really have really now a question. So thank you, and we really don't have another
Thank you so much. Please make sure that the microphone is on because I don't think it was on. And we have a new point from VFSO.
VFSO, Louis.
Belgium. If indeed it's going to happen in Brussels, PVSO wants to discuss maybe we can organize a social event in the evening. Or we can help with organizing social events.
Thank you, PFSO. Carolina?
Carolina alumni, that will be up to the executive that will unfortunately have that kind of thing happen. Let's hope it will never happen.
Thank you. And there are no other points on the speaking list. Go ahead, Carolina.
Carolina alumna, so I'll have 2 points. First, I would like to thank every single person involved in the working group. A lot of them are here, a lot of them. So I just wanted to thank you all for all your hard work. You did amazing, and without you, it would have not been done. And the second point, Carolina alumna. So the discussion already started. We in EPSA have a huge problem with events, and I think the 63rd GA was the perfect opportunity to change something in EPSA, because the discussion about the financial visibility of events has been in EPSA since even I was less so millennials ago. And the discussion is not helping. We have to change something. So during the event, we were staying in a hostel in like very student conditions. So when you'll be voting on the next bid, think about it. If there will be a fancy hotel on the bid, ask how much money it is. Ask if it can be changed. See how it's looking for, because really the discussion has been going on for ages, and Marlene can back me on, and nothing has changed ever since. The conditions are getting better and better, but it's not feasible anymore. So this is a perfect event that started. It worked in the students, like in the hostels and stuff, so it's great.
So the minute from the 9.14 can start. So sorry, Carolina, and we will thank you for the updates, and we will move on with the next point on the agenda, which is the Parliamentary Council updates. Go ahead, Michal. Gabriel?
Gabriel President, I will facilitate this one.
Okay, then I will pass the facilitation to Gabriel.
Thank you. Michal?
Michal, Parliamentary Council, and since the writing of the report, the PC concentrated on the preparations for the 64th General Assembly in Athens. PC has created the document loss of the GA video, prepared the debugger platform, prepared all necessary presentations, verified credential forms, read and reviewed the second team reports, assisted departments in understanding and aligning to regulations, attended OEMs and department meetings, compiled the proposed changes to the regulations for the General Assembly, and also attended and facilitated the second team meeting, and has also participated in this ESA PMF. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michal. I open the floor for questions if someone has them. CDPSA?
Dominika Gniezdy, Czech Republic, we wanted to ask if there was any further investigation on creating some online forum for ATC employees. Thank you.
Thank you, CCPSA. Andrei?
Andrei, parliamentarian. So as of now, we have not yet made an investigation on that, but thank you for reminding us. We will keep that in mind for the remainder of our mandate and make sure that it is properly investigated. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrei. Are there any more questions or comments? If not, then I pass the facilitation back to the PC for the next point.
Thank you, Gabriel, and we will pass on to the next point, which is the Audit Committee, and I invite Katrini Sousa and Adriana Rokitska to present their updates. Go ahead, Katrini.
Katrini Sousa, Audit Committee member. Since the write of the report, we audit control updated and clarify some doubts with the treasurer via email and Telegram chat. We also attended the AA walkthrough meeting and GA preparation meeting. We attended the second meeting in Athens, and in the beginning of this week, we had a meeting to double check the AC21 financial documents since we just had 1 day to audit before the deadline.
Adriana Kapnicka, audit committee member. Also, we had a GA preparation meeting with the treasurer on Tuesday in order to clarify some points regarding excess finances. We changed some messages with our bodies in purpose to make them with the EA, and then we finally let them go straight to our office.
Thank you so much. And I open the floor for questions and comments. And I see none, so thank you to the audit committee for the updates. And this has been the second GA session. We will proceed with the roll call. Gabriel, you will present. What time are we supposed to end?